April 9th, 2024, a file appeared on archive.org, aka the Internet Archive, that contained a massive number of animation and model files from early development of Half-Life 1. The majority of these files dating back to 1997. Over a year before the game fully released. And although some of these files have been available out in the community for some time, a lot are new and shed light on the development of Half-Life and showing things that were changed or removed that we did not know about prior. For example, and likely the thing you've seen the most of, the actual female scientist model. Half-Life originally was to have both male and female scientists roaming Black Mesa. The female scientist model has only ever been seen in a low-resolution image from the Raising the Bar book, the development book for Half-Life 2. We now have one of the original models. It's not identical, but it is an undecimated version of the model that was some point in development in 1997. We also have the very first ever made zombie model for Half-Life. It's actually based on Harry Teasley's original concept art that was drawn in '96. This is the very first zombie ever made for Half-Life. This is what's referred to as the Blue Suit Scientist, an iteration of the male scientist that up until this point we had only ever seen a concept drawing of. And this one had never been seen before. We also have its zombie variation. Here you can see a near final iterative sculpt of Barney. This is Weirdface Barney. This is a model that we have not had access to ever, and we have only ever seen Weirdface Barney in a few pre-release screenshots. Weirdface Barney is real and we have the model now. My favorite stuff that was found within these leaks pertain to actual scripted sequences, the animations that take place throughout the game in order to add depth and immersion into the world. We have a lot of unused scenes. For example, C1A41 Barney Flung and C1A4H Zombie Runover are scenes from a completely cut section of Blast Pit. Blast Pit had a runaway train segment that the player had to stop. We have raw geometry from that cut section of the level, along with scenes that were supposed to take place, such as Barney getting flung outside of a door and a zombie being run over by the runaway train. Before, we've only ever had just this image of the Worldcraft editor. Panther Fall, C1A1B, contains geometry from Brett Johnson's original version of Unforeseen Consequences. Brett Johnson was one of the original mappers and level designers for Half-Life, responsible for things like anomalous materials, unforeseen consequences, and surface tension. We interviewed him last year. There's a video on the channel. But the geometry that you're seeing here is original before it was changed up into what we have today. And of course, that's the Panther Eye, a completely unused and cut enemy from Half-Life 1. We actually have a few Panther Eye scenes, such as this one, Panther Barney Scene 1. There is an iteration of it in the 0.52 alpha, but this is the full version. It's even lit, which means that they were likely going to have pre-rendered cutscenes in Half-Life very early on in development. Slave Scene shows a cut enemy, the heavy weapons guy, and an alien slave, which of course was renamed to the Vortigaunts in Half-Life 2, following a scientist, directing them somewhere. This scene right here is the very first scene ever made for Half-Life. And we have it now. The raw data, we have it now. This scene shows a tentacle attacking a head crab. It was also supposed to be seen at Blast Pit. Does anyone remember the section in Blast Pit where there's just like a loose gas pipe shooting flames that you have to avoid? The geometry in that level is actually quite poor, because this wall is just slapdashed right onto the side, because originally there was supposed to be a tentacle down there that attacked the player. We have the animations and the positions of where this was supposed to take place. There are other scenes, such as Gordon here being attacked by the military, likely that scene where they dump him into the trash compactor. What's interesting is it takes place in third person. Gordon is animated and you see the different grunts attacking Gordon. What the heck? There are many variations of scientists hiding and getting attacked by aliens. The interesting thing is, most of the animations that are utilizing the first version of the scientist model, which can be assumed are the earliest versions of these scenes, almost always result in the scientist surviving. We have scientists falling off of bridges into water only to swim to the surface. We have a scientist falling off a vending machine and surviving. The tone of Half-Life through most of its development was far goofier. Actually getting these animations in a viewable video format was a lot harder than I anticipated. You had to import the original 3ds Max files into an earlier version of 3ds Max, fix them up a bit, center the virtual camera, and export them as an AVI. I had to do that for 200 different animations. What's cool is some of these animations actually had camera movements built into them. So they were either used for marketing materials, or again, Half-Life may have had third-person cutscenes at some point in development. If you want to see everything that I was able to extrapolate or pull out of all of these leaked assets, my second channel, The Passionate Gamer, where we also host my time travel show, has all of it. It's really cool. You love to see this kind of stuff. Apparently this stuff came from a semi-official source under hush-hush conditions, and it's now up on archive.org. So if you want to play around with the actual animation files, get a free trial of 3ds Max 2025 and just mess around with them. They work right out of the box, but there's a lot of like finagling to get them to work like you're seeing on this video. And if you just want to see everything that I was able to render and export, check out the link to my second channel and subscribe over there, because I actually have a lot of really cool content over there. And if you don't, I'm going to find you. McVicker, the Passionate Gamer. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit. I will see you next time. And if you want to support videos like this and all of the cool like cut content, old school 90s FPS PC game, and who loves it, Patreon Floatplane, check it out. Really appreciate it. And just thanks for being around. Check out my X page or my Discord server. I will talk to you all later. Peace and hair grease. And my next video is going to be, well, it's going to be surprising. Hopefully something good comes from it, so stay tuned. Adios.